A lot of good stuff in store. I'm so glad you guys got to see this first episode because otherwise we couldn't talk about anything, but now there's lots to talk about. So let me bring out everybody. First up, let's bring out the man that lets it up every episode, Rick Hoffman. And she is the newly engaged Rachel Zane, Meghan Markle. And I don't know if we can have a Rachel without a mic, so let's bring out Patrick J. Adams. And we also have one of the executive producers who has a lot of the answers to a lot of our burning questions, Gene Klein. Let's talk Suits.
Hey, guys.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming today. Thank you.
Where else would we be on a Sunday at 10 a.m.?
That's right.
Suits.
Jim, just before we get into it, I'd like to be, just based on our evening last night, you from here on in call me Tequila Bob.
I also have an announcement. Today, Patrick will only be taking questions about his hair.
Yep.
I have those questions. I wasn't going to make them the first, but
There's at least 5 in there.
We can go there. We did talk some beauty tips last night, so you never know. Let's talk about the episodes first, then we'll jump into some other stuff. Of course, the big thing everybody was wondering about was the Harvey, Lewis, Donna situation. And it really seems like at the end of this episode, it's in a decent place. Because I wasn't sure if it was going to go on for the whole season or if, it's in a good place. But, I know this is Suits, so how long is that going to last? What you guys talk about?
I love that we're famous for how long is it going to last. I think you officially have to answer this question.
I think you sort of answered the question with the question. It never lasts on Suits. And the next couple episodes will be feathering in a variety of ways to unsettle things.
But we run with the ball this season. I mean, I think it's safe to say without spoiling anything, when Donna says she's leaving, it's not like next episode she's back at Harvey's desk. I mean, it's a big part of the season, and I think this is the first time we've seen it, but just watching it as a fan of the show, I was like, oh my God, hell yes. I mean, watching you two together is, we've been waiting 5 years for that. Just give us, this whole show has just been an excuse to put the two of you together into scenes now, so we can all go home. It was great.
The scene in the diner was just a classic Donna Lewis scene. It was fantastic. Tell me about shooting that scene, and are you guys able to just run through that scene, or does it take a lot of takes because you're giggling and laughing and those things?
That scene was the first scene I shot after being off 5 months from doing the last season, and something that some of us sort of get caught doing when you have your first day back. You get the jitters, and that was the only thing I could think of when I was watching. It's like Sarah and myself call it the yips, like in golf when you can't, putt straight. So after being off for a while.
Can you do that hand thing again you just did? Just make sure you're filming that, everybody.
And frame the shot.
That's how I putt.
Please stop doing that.
That's gonna go viral.
So. You feel sort of like, you hadn't done it in a while, so you kind of feel shaky. So that's ultimately what I was trying to get over. But Sarah, it's with everybody in this cast, because everybody enjoys working with one another, as boring as that may seem. It just, I became comfortable and more comfortable throughout the scene. And then, of course, when you're slightly ejaculating at the end of the episode, that kind of just sort of gets, You lose that.
Slightly?
This is going to be a really interesting season because Sarah and I get to play off each other quite a bit more than usual. And all I can say is, as far as to answer your original question, Lewis is Lewis, and he always steps on his own, foot along the line, and it's heartbreaking to see. So all I can tell you is that whatever you're seeing here changes. It does not last that long. Yeah.
I got to actually watch that scene get shot, though, and to answer your question really directly, it was crazy fast how fast they do it. Like when they get into their rhythm, it's like instant. It
You were
was
on set
just
for that scene?
yeah. Randomly, I was shooting a scene after
Yeah.
it, so I watched.
I wanted to be. I remember everybody in hair and makeup afterwards was like, it was the
Oh.
best scene. It was so much fun.
That's great. And Gabriel's not here, but I do want to talk about Harvey a little bit because he's really unraveling, and we.
Gabriel is here, actually. He's just choosing not to come out here on stage.
Where's he at? Where's he at?
He's actually unraveling back there.
But since you guys are all part of the story, and it seems like anything that goes on with Harvey kind of affects everybody, how does that affect things moving forward? Because I'm guessing his issues with Donna not being by his side, they're not going to go away right away.
No, I mean, look, just from my standpoint, this season has been great because I haven't actually worked with Gabriel a lot up until season 5, but now with this sort of absence at his desk, Rachel is there quite a bit. So it's been fun for me just as an actor to be able to branch out with who I'm working with by this season. And Gabriel's so funny. And then even Rick and I, as we were just sitting back here watching the episode, we were like, he's so good. Yeah. So I mean, I don't.
I couldn't get over how fantastic his performance is. No, I'm serious.
Keep going.
I was in awe. I wish he was here so we could tell.
We could
I mean,
tell.
I will tell him, but I mean,
But
no,
there
I
is
mean,
something
it's
funny
so.
about.
Oh God.
But wait, no.
What? Nothing. I don't know. It got weird.
Yeah, it's always weird, but.
But what's funny is, but I think they're just laughing because even when the scene started and he's like eating a sandwich, I started laughing. I'm like, why am I laughing at Rick just eating a sandwich?
Oh.
It's like somehow everything that happens is funny.
Everything
from
is
you.
funny.
I was talking about Gabriel. I was saying how good Gabriel was.
Yes, I know, and then they laughed.
I know, because they saw me shaking my head as if I was like disagreeing.
I mean, the Harvey's character is a character that since day one of the show has had secrets. I mean, it's sort of the bedrock of the character is that he doesn't share with the people around him. And I think what's really, really cool about the stuff that we're doing this season is that the people around him still don't know. Maybe on a limited basis, Mike knows a little bit, Rachel knows a little bit. We're going to widen the circle, but the audience is getting to see a lot more than the characters around Harvey.
And even
because of the
Donna,
therapy
and even
sessions.
Donna not know. I mean, Donna knows everything, and Donna knows everything about him. And now you get to see something that's so behind the wall of Harvey Specter that even she doesn't know about it. So I think people and fans of the show and us on the show have been really excited to finally get to a place where we get to see a part of Harvey Specter that isn't just the coolest guy in the world, but something that's going on behind it.
Okay. Well, Patrick, let me stick with you for a second. What is Mike's biggest challenge in season 5? Is it kind of reining in Harvey? Is it Rachel's father?
Figuring out his hair.
Figuring out his hair? What's his biggest challenge going after this episode?
After this, we have a string of episodes with Rachel's father that, for me, has been the most fun stuff because Wendell Pierce, obviously, is one of the best. Yeah. And we're so lucky to have him on the show, and we got him for a string of episodes this time around before he went back to do The Odd Couple. That's what it is? Yeah, Odd Couple. So I got to just we basically tackle a case together. So we're working together, but I'm also really trying to gain his respect, so I can take his daughter's hand in marriage at some point.
Yeah, the case is the text,
Yeah.
but the subtext the whole time is the impending marriage.
Yeah, and getting him, he's a hard guy to win the respect of, so I have to work hard at it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting because we've seen Wendell in like bits and pieces, like he pops up here and there, but it sounds like he's going to be kind of in the offices and the throes of things for a while.
Yeah, that's definitely like my main storyline this season so far. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's been great.
So, is there a wedding this season? Can we tease, talk, anything?
Gene?
Gene?
We don't know. So we don't know. I mean, I think whenever Aaron comes up with an idea like the wedding, the immediate next thought is, well, how do I subvert that? So I think that the important thing is that you believe that it's coming, and also expect complications along the way. But I think there are several ideas in the hopper that.
That's good. ... But you guys are still shooting too. It's not like the season's
Yeah,
wrapped.
no,
Like
we're
where are
still
you guys in shooting up in Toronto?
Are we episode 6?
6 now, yeah.
Episode 6 out of the 16, so we are in the throes of it. Although I will say, whether the wedding happens or not, just by virtue of Mike and Rachel being engaged is kind of awesome, because anytime fans come up, they're like, "You're getting married!" and it's great. They're like, "I have to buy you a drink. You're engaged." I'm like, just keep them engaged. It's fantastic.
Well, Meghan, what outside of bride magazines and going through things like that, what is Rachel's kind of challenges in these episodes? Is it all based around her father? Is there other stuff going on?
Well, it's funny because you have a lot more stuff with Wendell than I do this season, which has been great. Wendell, who plays Robert Zane, but I was, truth be told, nervous coming into this season, assuming that every episode would be Rachel picks her colors, Rachel goes to try on dresses. But it's really been refreshing that it's not that, and it's a lot more associate work and really getting into the thick of what happens at the firm and seeing, at the onset, like even from the pilot episode, you could see that Rachel had this real intellectual prowess and was really savvy at work. And then we had a couple seasons where it was just like, oh, Mike. So it's nice to see her back at really
Isn't she technically Harvey's associate too in this part still? Because we never really talked about it. We never got away from it when she was. So, aren't you sort of working for him?
Yeah.
You're in a more formal fashion, so it's not just
which is great. I mean, it's really
so far
lots of
throughout.
walk and talks, I tell you. But
No,
the guys
but
never have to do it. I mean, I have to do it in heels. So we're like, da-da-da-da-da-da. So a lot different than just sitting at Rachel's desk. But it's cool. It's been really exciting.
I'll just say that seating chart scene always kills.
Seating charts?
Reception seating chart scene. Yeah, always kills. Can't get enough of those.
There's an upcoming scene regarding the wedding venue.
Oh.
I'll just tease that.
Whoa.
Get excited.
That's just for you, Austin.
Hilarity ensues.
ATX. That's free. That one's free.
You heard it here first. What's so funny though about that scene is we were all like, really? It was a kind of
The first time the weddings really come up. Yeah.
that's been brought up in 5 episodes.
I just want to see Donna and Lewis plan our wedding. I was like, I don't want let them do it.
Meghan, also just the Rachel Donna scenes are always, I think, some of the best, and we got a nice one, and we got a nice couple ones in this one.
Yeah, I love working with Sarah. Oh, it's so much fun. And I think, that first one that we had a couple seasons ago when it was Michelle Ross and Harriet Specter,
Yep.
at the bar when they're sort of playing this role. I mean, it's just fun because we get to have that banter, and you don't often see that in Rachel, except with her girlfriend. So we have pitched the idea of maybe Donna and Rachel have to go to Paris to find a great dress for Rachel's wedding. Come on, Gene.
The worst thing that could happen is for us to send a couple,
This cast to anywhere
Or-
in the world.
Megan and Sarah to Paris and leave everybody else home.
Yeah, exactly.
We'd never hear the
Yeah,
end
you would
of
never
it.
get the end of it.
It's true.
I think we should just talk about what we did last night. That's
No.
No.
We don't need to
much
talk
more
about that.
There were a couple Instagram pictures. I know I posted a few. Jim Halterman, if you guys look at
What
my
happens
Instagram
in
account.
Austin?
Gene, I want to ask a little bit about music in the show. Outside of the fantastic theme song, you guys love the theme song? I actually said during the screening, I was like, I never not watch the theme song. I have to watch it every time, and I sing it kind of quietly, sometimes not so quietly. But talk about how
Didn't you
music.
find that song? Didn't you find the theme song?
No,
You
Kevin
and
Bray was friends with it, but I was there when Kevin found it, and he played it on his phone, and then I was like, yes, and then I think I started writing emails about it, too. saying,
We were on set.
yeah, we were on
Yeah.
the set for the first episode.
Yeah, but music in general in the show, you guys use it really well. It's usually not songs we're too familiar with. Can you guys talk about just music and how that goes through?
We have a cool process. I mean, at the end of the day, everything goes through Aaron, the creator of the show. But we create these bins in like a Dropbox that we all share, the editors and Aaron and the producers, and we just try to put cool stuff in there, and it's mildly curated, and it's I'd say the most of the power when it comes to the music in the show rests with the editors, because if they find a song that they like and they find a place for it in the show, and Aaron sees it and he likes it, it's going to stay. And I think the reason why we have this sort of Aaron doesn't know anything about like popular music, and he doesn't care.
At all.
So, but when he hears something that's cool or he hears something that he likes, it'll be in the show. And so I think that's why we don't have songs that you've heard, because we don't aspire to that.
Well, they're also cheaper.
Honestly, it has nothing to do with it.
Well, no, I could speak to the music budget. I directed an episode last year, and I got a peek behind the curtain. And I do like music, and so I was doing my edit, and just like, nobody told me how a budget works for post-production. I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna put all my favorite songs in this show. And it was like, it was an episode where Lewis was like walking out of the elevator and doing his like, they were very particular edits, so it was hard to take a song out and then put a new song in. So I put this whole thing together, sent it off, and I get this like phone call from post-production being like, so you've gone over budget by about $250,000. And we had to like pull out. I think that my episode.
You literally had like 5 songs on the radio.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was
like-
Pharrell.
I was like, it's a great Pharrell song. Wait, that's expensive. But we kept most of them. You guys were kind. You let me keep a fair amount of them because they were
You still went over.
Yeah, exactly.
Some of my
time.
favorite episodes are based on the selection of music, and Gene is so like very responsible for a lot of those picks. And like, everybody I think thinks they're like a music supervisor, like oh this. You know what? Like I just heard this today that this really would fit our show, and then you send it to Gene. Like, Gene, you have to hear it, and then he's like, yeah, I don't hate it, but no, Rick, because every song you sent him, pretty much to Gene, it just sounds like
It's a discerning. He has a
like
discerning
something awful.
palate. He takes in a lot of music. There's also lobbyists. I found this out while I was directing. There's like record labels that are like, hey, so what music are you putting in your episode? Like there are people that's their job is to place music, and so they're really good at understanding what the vibe of your show is and sending you really good stuff of new artists, which is great because that's a big paycheck for a new artist to get their music on, and it helps to not always have music that we recognize when we're watching TV shows.
Okay. Speaking of music, I want to take you guys back a little bit to the first season. Rick and Patrick, I want to ask about the first scene you guys ever shot together.
Oh.
And I think there might have been a little music that came in. Maybe it didn't make it to the show,
I think Jim's referring to when we did the pilot, and you and I were sitting across from the desk.
Oh my God, yeah, that's a great scene. I don't know if it was the
and
first.
in
but
between setups,
we should-
Patrick, I don't know how we got into
started
it, but
beatboxing.
started beatboxing, and then I freestyled badly.
Yeah, rip. Yeah, and you went for it.
And then I went for it, and I
He
think
went for it, and
kind
it's
of-
on film somewhere.
It helped. Is it?
It must be. They were rolling.
we need to see this.
But we definitely, I would say, when you don't really know each other that well, and then like you sort of have that kind of fun little thing in common, that helped.
Rick didn't like me at first. What did you call me? You said some vanilla chop,
I call.
which is my
What?
best description
Wait a
of me.
minute.
He said the first time
Didn't like you?
At first, he was worried about me. He was like, "Who's this kid coming
because
in
usually,
on this TV
because usually
show?"
with most, this is my own personal. I like a lot of leads and shows are very vanilla. And
Vanilla chop.
I did not think Patrick at all on his performance was vanilla. I had an amazing amount of respect immediately when we did the read through. But I like to make fun of Patrick occasionally by telling
But
him.
based on his headshot, you were skeptical.
Yes.
Yeah, when when that thing in the trades, that picture with him, like. Didn't like that too much.
Hashtag vanilla chop.
I don't know why.
Vanilla chop and
comes from.
tequila bob. It's good. I'm in good company.
So wait, just in case video does not exist, what was that beatbox, Leah? You did a little bit.
You
No,
want to
he's
freestyle?
gonna-
Are you gonna do
Do
it?
it, Rick. Yeah.
Hey, wait, what? What? Yeah, sitting here in the auditorium. I'm very embarrassed because I don't have anything to say, son. You all know that I don't know how to rap. But you know what? Guess what? I don't really give a crap yet. Although, however, I think we're going to be on stage forever because this is taking too long. We know it's going to go on.
That was beautiful.
I have
Well
a friend. I have a
done.
friend from college in the back right now who's visiting, and he's just like, "Wow, you're still a fucking idiot."
That was great.
Well played, Jim.
I needed to hear that for myself, but I think everybody liked it. We're going to get to fan questions in just a second. I want to know real quick, just for the actors, tell me what that first job was that got you your SAG card. I'm always curious what kind of made you legit. If you guys don't know, the SAG card's the actors union card.
Yikes.
What was it?
No, you first. You first.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I was in University of Arizona. We had a my friend Neil and myself, we knew this very talented actor who was in our class, and he had sort of like, he was in the know of like things up in Phoenix, and it was a Disney movie starring a dog, and he was like, why don't you come up and you can maybe try to sneak into the audition, and I snuck in and I auditioned for a mugger, and I got it. He didn't. That caused a little tension for a while back in school. But that got me my SAG card when I was 20. So it was like before I even got to LA, I was kind of like thinking I was set. Unfortunately, then another 11 years later, after being broke, But no, I got my SAG card like at 20 by having a scene with a dog, threatening a dog as a mugger. That was my question. Yeah.
You were so good in that, though.
Thank you.
You were so
The
Nobody's
good.
played
best
a mugger
mugger
better.
ever.
Exactly. Megan, how about yours?
Yeah, I think I was Taft-Hartley, which is I like pretended that I was union, and you have to. It was a pilot called Century City with Hector Elizondo and Johan Griffiths, and I got there and they were like, "So you're union?" I'm like, "Of course I'm union. Yeah, absolutely I'm union." And then I wasn't. And casting to this day, those casting directors will never hire me. They never. I can't even remember what their names were.
You told them you were. You're,
I told them I was union, and then they had to Taft-Hartley me, which really is just like them sending one piece of paperwork to the union, but it makes you.
You're the Mike Ross of.
I was such a fraud. The Mike Ross of auditioning, whatever. I had like a line in it.
I remember Century City.
You do?
Yep, 2001.
Him and dates again. Yesterday we were saying Rick has this crazy brain.
He
where
actually
he's
has a photographic memory. He can
No.
remember.
Yeah,
He remembers the
he's
day
the
we
Mike
got picked up. The day we got picked up for the first season.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like
that's for a whole other reason.
yeah.
like, no.
Rick, can you do a scene from the street for us?
Oh, it's so good in that.
What? First of all, that came out before they were all born. So, no.
I got my SAG card. The movie Old School.
Yes.
That's what you got it from? Yeah.
Same situation. I was Taft-Hartley. I went in an audition to just be one of the Pledge Brothers. Didn't know that I had gotten it. Went home, came back. Went home to Canada, where I was from, for Christmas. Came back. Canada. Yeah, let's hear for Canada. Yeah. Came home and had, when you first get a job, you don't even know how you get a job. You don't know. Like a costume designer calls you and says, "Come in for a fitting," and you're like, What? I have a job? So I had like 3 voicemails saying come in for a fitting, and then I ended up spending a month on set of Old School, basically as a background. Like I had nothing to do, but I ended up playing guitar at Blue's funeral. That was something that I got to do. That was my first thing that I did, and throw a cinder block off that was attached to my genitals. From humble beginnings.
Did I hear that
And then
right?
I got to dance. The Lakers cheerleader, head cheerleader, taught me how to dance, or not dance.
You should
as
YouTube that
can-
scene. It's pretty amazing.
Very well.
Well, let's open it up to you guys. Just raise your hand, I'll pick you, and we'll get some questions out of these guys. Go ahead right here.
Wait, stand up.
What's your name? Hi. Hey,
Hi,
Catherine.
Catherine.
I'm actually a lawyer in Toronto. It's not as fun as you guys make it look. I know. But I was wondering, you were talking about pitching music sometimes before. Do you guys ever pitch locations, or do you have a favorite location that you shot in Toronto?
The question is, do they get pitched locations, and is there a favorite location in Toronto if you guys didn't hear?
Not really. I mean, that was a big part of getting to direct, was suddenly getting a voice in some of that stuff, but it's always dictated so much by the script, and so much of the script, it's actually rare that the show goes out. It's like one scene out of every 10 that were actually out anywhere, and there's so much that it depends on scheduling wise, what's available, and if they'll even let us have it. So I don't think we really.
There's a couple places we go all the time.
Yeah, there's the common. But no.
The main criteria is it's got to look like New York. I mean, when we first got up there, the folks would show us around, and there were these great places, and we would say that this looked like New York.
Yeah. We're constantly pitching story ideas that would be like I was always like, why aren't we in Brooklyn more at the beginning of the series? I was like, I want to see Mike and Rachel like out at dinner in Brooklyn in some cool restaurant. Like, why don't we ever?
when you would pitch that.
I was like, why don't we ever see that part of the world? But you know, it's about the office and not about Mike and Rachel at dinner, I guess. So.
Well, and then we have challenges too, like when we're at Bay and Adelaide, and it's a nighttime scene that we're shooting outside on location there, we'll have yellow cabs in to sort of make it feel like New York, but you'll get your occasional just local folks who are out at dinner or maybe a little tipsy trying to get into our taxis. We're like, it's not real.
It's true. It's true.
And then they get into like there's one guy and literally he tries to get into one cab. They're like, no, we're filming. Then he gets in the next cab and then they're like, still in our cabs. He tries to get in the other one. He's like, I just want to go home. Another cab, buddy.
Or when Mike used to ride a bike a lot, we'd put like a bike lock out in front of especially in New York, we'd put these like fake bike locks, and within 30 seconds there'd be 2 bikes on the fake bike thing. What do we do? Can't leave them here because that's mean, but yeah. So you.
Great. Patrick, speaking of directing, are you directing again this season?
Yes, I hope so.
Yay.
I think so. I believe so. Yeah.
He's so
Thank
good.
You.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So good.
If he behaves himself.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Another question? You have your hand very high. Go ahead. With the glasses. Yes.
Hi.
Yay.
What's your name?
My name's Sharvy and I'm from Australia.
Hi, Shabby.
Welcome.
We really love you in Australia, although we get it a little bit later, so we have to kind of trick iTunes into thinking we're in America so we can pay for it.
It's hard, right?
Don't
'Cause
tell
you
them
can't-
about this. Then you're like way ahead
You
of the
can't
curve.
pay attention to social media because people like spoil it all the time when you
Yeah.
guys get it late.
So I was really moved by this episode, specifically Harvey's mental health. And I think that it was unusually exceptional in how that was expressed. And I would love to hear a little bit more about how you guys decided to show what that experience was like.
The question was about Harvey's kind of unraveling, I guess, and his mental health and how they crafted that. Can you talk a little bit that to Gene?
Yeah, I mean, the creator, Aaron, the creator, his wife is a therapist, and so you know, Aaron's got a lot of experience with this, and he talks a lot about the philosophy behind ways to treat people, and he gave a lot of thought. There's in the upcoming episodes, the therapist does some unconventional things, but you know, Aaron did some research and talked to his wife and some other therapists about the way you treat people like Harvey, and has been really, really thoughtful about it. I mean, and it all came from a place of, I mean, if you've been watching the show for 5 years, Harvey is a character who needs therapy.
By the way, how good was the therapist in this show? I'm firing my therapist to get a therapist like that.
Who else has a question? Right here in front.
Hi.
Morning.
Hi.
Yes.
Feels like it.
I would like to know from each of you, who's your favorite character and who else on the show would you portray if you could?
That's so tough. That's so tough. I don't.
It's really not that tough for me. Louis Litt's always been my favorite character.
Mine
always.
too.
Hands down.
Okay. Yeah, he's mine too. I mean, it's hard. That's a really hard. I can't. Like, they think I'm like so mushy when it comes to this thing, but like, I just watch an episode like this, and it just reminds you. I truly don't. I think everybody is so good at what they do on this show.
This is classic Rick Hoffman.
all right.
He won't finish a sentence for the next 5 minutes. He won't do it.
I'm proud of all of them. I love working with all of them. It's they're all so great at what they do. And by the way, when I was 6,
Here's the thing you have to know about Rick, and like all joking aside, he is just the most sensitive, kind, like, no, but really, like even as we were sitting and watching the episode, and like, we were always sort of frickin' frack, the two of us, like, hey Rick, and he taps me, he's like, Meg, remember this moment. But means it, and it's so sweet. Like looking out at you guys laughing and enjoying our show, and I was like, look, and he's like, remember this moment. But it's so sweet. It's so all right.
Well, it's funny there's the three of us up here because Rick was sort of the elder statesman of the whole group, only because he had been through so much of this before. He'd been through so many failed shows. He'd been on. He was just such a disaster. His career was really right there in the gutter. And then he pulled it back up, and right at the last minute, saved it. But truthfully, like, Meghan and I were always kind of like, "Well, this is normal, right? We're on a show, okay, and it's going." And he was always like, "This isn't normal." Like, enjoy this at
appreciate
every
every piece
moment.
of
And if
Like
we
right
ever
now,
complain,
right now, like this moment, right now.
Do you remember Rick at the end of season 1 when we knew we were getting season 2? I remember being up there at the end of the season, and you do that thing where, what are you doing during the break? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And Rick was, I'm not doing anything. What do you?
Right.
What do you mean you're not doing anything? He's like, I'm going to stay right here in Toronto, and I'm going to enjoy the fact that we have season 2 coming up.
Yeah,
That's right.
So rare.
Because this never happens.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, I got time for like one or two more questions. Let's right here with the glasses. You can stand up.
Hi.
Hi, I'm Anne. My question is really, really important question. Meghan, whose wardrobe would you want to take?
Whose wardrobe? I love that that's the very, very important question. Look, I happen to really love Rachel's wardrobe because it's mix and match pieces, but come on, like, Jessica's wardrobe is on a whole nother level. And even Jolie, our wardrobe designer, often says, sometimes to Sarah and I's chagrin, she's like, well, honey baby, this is how she talks to us all the time, honey baby, Jessica's my masterpiece. We're like, well, can I get a dress too? No, I mean, her clothes are just out of this world and a fortune. So, hey, Gene, can we keep some of our clothes? So I put him on the spot and asked
I'm
him,
not
I was
touching
like,
that
can I keep
one.
this
I'm
sweater?
not going
Can I
near
keep
that.
this-
Gina has a thing on set that she can stand in. It's like a leaning thing. She's told me I can talk about it. It's not her. But it's like because her dresses are so tailored
Corseted
to
and
her.
tight and-
She can't move, So
Yeah.
she leans instead of sit down. She
They
just
made it for
leans
her.
on this thing.
By the
And then they
way,
wheel her out, and then she comes back.
yeah, they have to roll it in for the scenes. It also has, like, it's really strange
It's
looking
really,
contraption.
it's like a weird, like old.
But it has red velvet on it. So
Yeah.
it's
some sort of strange,
It's so
like 50
regal.
Shades of Grey
and she's like this.
thing. It's
Yeah.
really funny. She designed it too. It's not
Well,
a
no,
thing
she
that
said it
exists.
came- it's
she,
a
when she
thing.
came in, she was like, "You know what I need?" She came to the carpenters. She's like, "I've heard of this before," and she kind of talked them through it. And they're like, "Okay," and they go back to like the carpenter and they bring this thing out, which they just made covered in velvet. I guess we have a bunch of red velvet lying around it.
I basically just want to be Gina in my next life. I just want to come back like that.
we
Like,
all
I'd like a
kinda do.
leaning thing with red velvet.
I think I kind of want to be Jessica.
Right? Yeah.
One more question. We'll go right here in front.
U of A.
What's your favorite line or scene from any of the shows? Like, because there's just such great writing where you're like, did that just happen? Like, do you have a favorite line or something?
Favorite line or scene for any of the actors?
I loved getting stoned with Harvey.
Yeah. That's up there. That would be my top.
I mean, it was really
one.
by that point in the show, I think we had just sort of gotten into a rhythm, and we're like, oh, is it just kind of always going to be this? And then suddenly we read the script, and we're like, we get stoned and sneak into a building like a couple of kids, and I had the best time shooting that sort of whole sequence of just being high with him.
What's so funny is I'm trying to think of the scene that always stays in my head when I think about our show, just from a fan standpoint, is the scene with you at the end of last season. Was it the end of last season or was it the cliffhanger mid-season finale where you're like, Pearson, Spectre, lit, and you can like barely get it out, and he's like shaking.
That was episode 10
Oh,
last year. Yeah.
That's me playing Lewis Litt. I remember, I get chills. No, but I remember I got chills when I saw it because you're so good in that scene. That's
You're gonna send Rick Hoffman into a not finishing a sentence tizzy again.
that's my favorite scene.
You
The
know,
thing
like,
about
I just
people
really-
is that I
Move my hand.
I love the scene in the pilot with when Rick fake fires you.
Oh, that's the.
Because
that
I
the
love
scene?
I love when Louis Litt is a dick.
where you fired the guy in front of me, or you
Yeah.
basically you like shot the guy in the head next to me just to let me know that you could do that. That was that scene. where you
Welcome.
just-
Yeah.
yeah.
Welcome to
this
the
is
firm.
how it works. You're fired. It was great.
There,
That was a fun scene.
as far as lines, like it's very. I don't break a lot, but they had given me one line, and that was with DB Woodside last year, where I have to just face to face tell him that I eat cock for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That was one of the hardest things I've had to do.
And it's on our blooper reel too, right?
Yeah,
From
well,
that.
yeah, and then yes, it is on the blooper reel, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great. We are almost out of time. I did want to mention really quick, Rick, you have a new addition to your life.
Oh.
Tell everybody who's new in your life.
I have a newborn son. I have
That looks.
Look at how it looks.
That looks exactly like a miniature version of Rick Hoffman.
Scary.
So
Cute.
sweet.
Yeah.
I confuse the two of them sometimes.
He was such a proud papa last night. He pulled out his phone, showed me pictures, video. It was fantastic. So congratulations.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank
June
you, guys.
24th.
Thank you,
Suits are
guys.
back.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.